It's been 5 years since I picked up my 2008 Audi R8 V8 from Montreal. What an experience that was, but I can't believe the amount of time that has passed. I want to give you the top things that I've learned in that ownership experience of this 2008 Audi R8 V8. One of the number one things to this day, I still do it. I walk into the garage at nighttime, randomly when I'm at home, I open the door and I just look at it. This thing still continues to look absolutely timeless to this day. Probably one of the most iconic looking, timeless vehicles ever created, in my opinion. You know, we talk about it being a supercar, that's fine, but I think of any car, I think of a timeless, beautifully executed design by Audi, and this actually not only is a beautiful design, but it really changed the design language for an entire brand, which was Audi, across all their vehicles in their entire lineup, right? From the S4, the A5, the S5, everything of that generation followed in line with the Audi R8, the first introduction, and this was Audi's first supercar. So this was honestly a car that I fell in love with in high school. I saw it in the Iron Man movie, and you know, I still look at it today, and people, when I drive around and they look at it, they think, is this a 2023? This is a brand new car? And the answer is no. This is a almost 15-year-old car now. It's aged, but really from the looks of it, it doesn't age. It hasn't aged at all. It's almost like the Jessica Alba of all type of vehicles. So like, honestly, I just love the looks of this vehicle. It's a truly timeless design, and you can tell, right? Not just being me, you know, obviously biased and loving this car, but anywhere I go, people are just like, what is that thing? Is that like a new R8? But that's different than the new R8 that I saw. And I'm like, no, this is actually the one from 15 years ago. So absolutely timeless design, never gets old. And the other thing that is really interesting to me is that when I went ahead and looked to buy this car, reliability was something that was important to me. Obviously 5 years ago, I was a little younger. You know, I didn't want to be, you know, put up with a huge repair bill or maintenance. And I did all this research, and the Audi R8 was typically seen as one of the most reliable supercars, reliable daily driver supercars that money could buy. And I'm happy to report, after 5 years of ownership, and it's not like I've just been babying it 100%. Now look, don't get me wrong, it is my garage queen. Absolutely. I don't drive it in the winter, of course, but I also take it to the track. You know, I've been to the track multiple times with this vehicle. I do drive it around. Since I bought it at 37,000 kilometers. I now have just over 60,000 kilometers. So I put a good bit of kilometers over 5 years. So it's not like I'm avoiding driving it, but I do take care of it, right? Obviously, you guys follow this channel. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like this video. I cover everything to do with tips, detailing, everything like that to make sure that you keep your car as good looking as mine. I'm gonna brag about that. I think for a 15-year-old car, I've done a good job in keeping it in the best condition I possibly can, with a ceramic coating, a full PPF on the front. Again, I will link all those videos in my detailing playlist in the description box, also down below. But quite honestly, the maintenance hasn't been that bad at all, right? I'm talking about oil changes, and I have a trusted mechanic, Bill from Garage Auto Sports. I go to him for everything. Really, it's been oil changes, it's been tires, and that's basically it. It's like just been that maintenance. Now, there's one caveat to this. I had a repair bill where my injectors got clogged, and there was some stuff that happened because of that. The car didn't turn on when I was at a restaurant. This happened about a year ago, and this is the first time anything like that major happened. So what we did was we got full spark plugs, full injectors. We did a full maintenance on the vehicle. We had to go ahead and do that. That cost me $6,000, right? I made a separate video on that. That was the biggest repair bill that I faced in my 5 years of ownership with this vehicle. So that's partially because in Canada, a lot of the gasoline now has ethanol in it, and it's extremely hard to find gasoline that doesn't have ethanol. Actually, in the time of this recording, there's no gas station around me that has gasoline with no ethanol. All of them have an ethanol mixture, and that's what is potentially causing some of these problems that I had when my car didn't start with the injectors being clogged. So that's a hypothesis. I don't know 100% what the answer is, but that one repair was the most expensive repair that I had over the past 5 years, and that wasn't anything major. Like the engine, the transmission, all of the mechanics of this vehicle run absolutely solid still to this day. Like, I trust this vehicle that it's a solid, reliable daily driver supercar. Now, of course, is it as reliable as maybe my Lexus? Of course not. Like, do I trust taking this car maybe to Vancouver and back across the country? No, but it's been a great, reliable daily driver supercar. You know, obviously I've kept with the maintenance, and that's a must requirement. You must, when you buy these vehicles, keep up with the rigorous maintenance schedule that they have. But if you do that and you buy the right type of car, you should be good to go. Just follow the maintenance schedule. These German cars are very finicky with that, and then you'll be good. But honestly, I've been pleasantly shocked with how reliable this Audi R8 V8 is. And of course, the V8 comes from the Audi RS4. It was modified with a dry pump system, etc., for the application in the Audi R8. But honestly, it's been a phenomenal experience. And on top of it being a reliable and beautiful car, it's also extremely fun to drive. And you guys know I wanted a car that I could just really enjoy myself in, drive it on the back roads or going anywhere, to be honest with you. And this Audi R8 brings the perfect combination, in my opinion, of engine noise, engine feel, the fact that you have to ring out this V8 to its 8,200 RPM redline. It sounds phenomenal. It's mid-mounted. You hear that power and that push of thrust behind you. You have this nice low stance in the vehicle. Obviously, the magnetic ride suspension. I have BC Racing coilovers on it now, but you have such a great feel on the road. And then, of course, the jewel of this car, in my opinion, the fact that this engine is mated to a 6-speed gated manual transmission. And let me tell you, after 5 years, it doesn't get old. I absolutely love rowing the gears in this transmission. Unlike any other car, it always makes it a magical experience. There's nothing like pounding through those gates and the sound that it makes. I'm gonna let you listen to it, and it just sounds phenomenal in my opinion. So all of these things together for this car make it truly an amazing driving experience. And I've had the pleasure to drive lots of amazing cars, the Honda S2000, you know, the Porsche Cayman GT4s, McLarens. You guys follow along on this channel. I have a lot of great time and a lot of great vehicles. And there's something very unique about having a gated manual transmission with an engine behind you that you're rowing through the gear. It feels like you're strapped on a mini rocket ship that you're manually controlling, which honestly doesn't get old. After 5 years, you think, you know, I get a little annoyed of it or sick of anything really. You go through a honeymoon phase at first, but honestly, it hasn't come to that point where I'm like bored of it ever, right? Maybe because I'm not putting too many kilometers on it, whatever else it is, but I try to take out the car as much as I can all the time, to be honest with you, and still I fall in love with it. There's nothing like clacking through those gears in this transmission. It's honestly such an amazing experience. Now, the other thing is on top of it, when I bought the vehicle, the value has increased. So, which has been a side benefit. To be honest with you, I tell everybody when you buy a vehicle, you should just expect that you're going to lose 50% of the value. For the most part, I knew this was a special vehicle. I personally knew going into buying this vehicle that at minimum, it would keep its value. So that's what I was hoping at minimum, just keep its value and I'd be happy with it. And it's grown in value. About maybe I'd say in the 5 years, it's grown by 20% in total. So whatever that is in terms of growth. And that's 20% in total, you know, with the additional kilometers that I put on it, etc., etc. So it's really grown in value more if I didn't drive it per se. So that's been a great benefit as well, right? So I could go ahead and turn this around and sell this car. In my opinion, in the market today, I could probably sell it easily for 95,000 Canadian dollars. If I wanted to wait for the right buyer, I'd probably sell it for 100,000. It's probably worth 100,000 because I've kept this thing in mint condition. I've obviously done some, you know, additional things to it. The full custom exhaust through Bill at Garage Auto Sports. If you haven't heard that, I'll leave that clip right now for you. That obviously makes the car just sound amazing, and it really opens it up. And if there's one little nuance or pick that I had with the stock R8 is that the sound could have been better, especially on the V8. So I'm glad I went ahead with that. And then I changed the BC Racing coilovers, obviously, because the magnetic ride suspension on these vehicles all go. If you want to know the quirks on the mechanics of this car, there are a few quirks. You know, I mentioned that it's fully reliable, but there are quirks to this. I will link that video in the description box down below and in the card above so that you guys can see it. But I've been really, really impressed with this vehicle all up. And the fact that it's kept its value and actually grown in value just makes it all the much better. And because of that, to be honest with you, I can't ever see myself selling this car. You know, I know I look at it, I know I'd just be really sad. I don't know actually what in the market could get my heart to say, oh my God, this is trumping this car. In terms of its looks for me, in terms of its performance, in terms of the history, and personally, just like a little bit of my backstory, I was in love with this thing the moment I saw it. And I kind of worked hard in my early part of my career in high school, going through college and university, kind of with that goal of like, I want that car, and I got it. And so like, I feel very blessed. Obviously, a lot of people in my life helped support me on that path, my friends, my family, but it's kind of like a little bit of a trophy for me as to the success of hard work and determination. So I don't really see myself ever selling it unless, you know, I declare bankruptcy. Then yes, I will have to sell it, but I hope it doesn't ever come to that point, because I can't see myself ever letting something like this go. It's just too special for me. You know, maybe somebody toyed with me. You know, one of you guys on the comments said, listen, Sonduren, why don't you go for the R8 GT with the V10 and do a manual swap? I was actually considering that. A 6K mile 2012 Audi R8 GT Spider V10, looking so beautiful. The GTs obviously are the top of the class of the first gen Audi R8. This thing looks absolutely stunning still to this day. Wow. Do I upgrade? Do I sell my V8 R8 and go with something like this? You know, I have to talk to my wife. I just recently had a kid. Let me see what I could do with that. That's a potential option, but regardless, I still think this is one of the most timeless vehicles in the market that you can buy today. And I think honestly, for the price versus some other newer cars out there, I would highly consider an Audi R8, right? Either the V8 or the V10. Of course, if you have more money, I didn't have more money at the time. You're probably asking, Sonduren, why get the V8, get the V10? I didn't have the extra $20,000 just hanging around. So I went with the V8, and it had my perfect spec that I wanted with that 6-speed manual, the black. It looked just beautiful. And yeah, I remember when I bought that car. If you haven't already watched that video, I'll link it up in the card above. But you know, I quickly acted on it. My buddy went to Montreal, checked it out. Literally within 48 hours, we went down there, picked it up, and brought it back. So yeah, that's been the experience with the R8. 5 years. I cannot believe how time flies, and I hope I can make another video 5 years from now and being really happy about it again, and you know, just talking about it with you guys. But I think it's going to be to be honest, a collector's vehicle. Not mine specifically. I'm driving my car. You know, it'll be a collector vehicle in my garage and in my life. It won't be something that collectors will come after me for. But I think those cars that are low kilometers, I think people that are looking for this car, it's definitely going to be a collectible car. It was Audi's first supercar. It just looks absolutely breathtaking. 15 years later, it's probably going to look the same 10, 15 years later again. So I'm just really happy with it. If you guys have any questions, leave them down in the comment box down below. I have an entire playlist on the Audi R8 you can go ahead and check out. But this is something that actually helped, you know, start my passion for making videos on YouTube, and I still do it to this day. And believe it or not, I still go into the garage and kiss this beautiful thing goodnight a lot of the time with my new child and my wife. So I do it all. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Again, if you have any questions, leave them down in the comment box down below. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe for more videos to come, and I will catch you guys in the next one.